Hello, adventurer. It's good to see you. You have made it to the morning grind.
Welcome, welcome.
It's the live stream at the beginning of the Geekverse, where we talk about all types of topics in geekdom, gaming, and fantasy, with an emphasis on being constructive and creating the things that we want to exist in the world.
It's all on the grind, Sizemore. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
That's exactly right. There are a lot of adventures to be had today. Dungeons to explore and monsters to slay, and who knows what a random encounter might send our way. That's why we have to prepare, so settle in now for the morning grind with your favorite beverage in hand.
Tea? Or maybe something a little stronger. I've got a few bottles of the old Wynyard left.
Whatever you want. Pull up a chair.
Dude.
If you're feeling fancy, how about a cappuccino? Or a frappuccino? Or how about an espresso?
Just tea, thank you.
Sounds good to me, Gandalf. Whatever you want. I'm just glad you're here.
Everyone is welcome. You can just watch if you want. You don't have to worship anything you don't want to worship.
Thank you, Mike. But be forewarned.
Sometimes we get really strange characters around here.
Wait, what's that you say? Why can't you come and be a part of the stream?
My wife would disown me.
Oh no, I bet she'll be fine with it. Come on in.
Am I scared for my safety? No.
What are we supposed to do?
Everybody do the secret handshake.
Secret cultist handshake.
Oh, now do wizards who love each other.
This, my friend, is a science.
I still don't have gifts, but it's fine.
It's all on the grind, son. Can't be too fine, can't be too coarse.
Dude, this would be a sick place to bring the band.
Indeed it would be, Dave. It really would. I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Oh, look, here's someone new.
Is this the cultist meetup?
Yes it is.
Come to hang out? Please accept me. I have nothing else.
Okay, we accept you. Everyone's welcome here.
Brought some snacks.
Well, that makes things even better.
You want some coffee? I don't drink coffee. You sure?
It's cultist coffee.
What makes it cultist coffee?
I'm a cultist and I'm drinking it.
Oh. Then I'll have some.
What exactly is going on here?
I'm seeing more people coming in. Welcome. It's so great to have you. Oh, and look, here comes another stranger.
Can we help you?
Yes, fellow cultists. I could really use some food.
Oh yeah? Welcome. We have donuts.
Oh, it's me. I'm glad I'm here. I'm sure you have a few questions for me, though.
What's your name? Who do you work for? What god do you worship?
Great questions, Rob.
I'm Steve King, and I worship Nyarlathotep.
No, not really. I'm just Heath, and I won't be worshiping anything this morning. But I will be your host. Welcome to the office. We're going to have a great time. I've got my coffee ready, because now it's time for the morning grind.
If you could become a fish, that would be amazing. Then I could command you with my mental fish powers.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the office. Welcome to the morning grind. It is so good to have you here. We have got, I see James and also Stray is here right here this morning. It is so good to have you this morning. I have been up and working, and I basically got the 5th edition rules or stats finished with all of the other creatures in that book. So I thought it would actually be good to go ahead and finish what we were working on, since on Thursday we've been going back to RPGs anyway after World Building Wednesday. But here we're talking about RPGs and the statistics for something we're creating here. So I figured we'd go ahead and finish. And I even started working on Pathfinder 2nd edition rules, going back up to the top. I went through yesterday and I edited all the way through to what we had gotten through. Then I worked on more of the rules this morning. So I've still got to edit down here at the end, but then I'm going to go back at the top and go back through and do Pathfinder second edition. Sable Phoenix says, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Smells like victory. Yes. So Stray just posted the Discord link. Please do check out the Discord server. I'm going to be putting my publisher's hat back on this afternoon. and also pulling up or starting from the rear on what it is that I need to do in order to get Kickstarters finished, which is the Goodnight Sword Kickstarter. Let's see. Let me post that. If you are here and you did not join Goodnight Sword, I'm going to send out invoices for late pledges. I'm not going to all the trouble. I'm not going through a pledge manager. It's not going to be months before these ship. They're going to ship. Kickstarter should send the money in. This is Thursday. Oh, should send the money in 1 week. So we're going to wrap this up basically as soon as that comes in. So I'm going to be ready. I'm going to send out the surveys. If you receive a survey, please do fill it out, because I do need to know, like, if you're getting a physical book, where to ship it to. So please do fill out that survey if you can, as soon as we get it sent out. And then that way I can get the surveys, I can get the books sent out, and we will wrap all of this up. So Goodnight Sword, if you need a late pledge for Goodnight Sword, please click the request late pledge button, and I will send those out maybe as early as today, invoices for those, but maybe tomorrow as well. I have not put up a link. I have not put up a link for this, but I do want to do a members only stream. So I'm thinking about doing a members only hangout stream tonight. So didn't do one yesterday. Needed more recovery time from table talk, but tonight I'm thinking about doing a members only stream. So I'm going to do that a little bit later. I don't want to go for, I don't want it to go too late, but I also don't want to start too early, because there's more stuff that's got to be done this afternoon. So I'm thinking maybe at like 7:30 p.m. Central. That seems to work. See, between the morning grind, of course, it starts at 9:30 a.m. But when we used to the wind down, you'd have about well, it would be 10 hours between the start of the wind down. So like 9 hours to go and do whatever it is that you need to do before we ended up with the wind down again. So I am thinking about doing that. I'll put that out on the Discord server as well. So Stray posted the Discord server link. But then thinking about doing a hangout. We can discuss, we can talk. And I have been thinking about what I think I might do. We'll just see how this goes. We'll do this as an experiment. I'll give the StreamYard link to the to channel members. I'll just put that as a post in the community tab section. And then if you would like to join, hang out, and have a discussion, if there are things that you would like to talk about, so if there are things that you would like to talk about, you can come on the stream. We'll see how that works. I don't think anybody's going to be obnoxious, so we'll see. I mean, there are ways to kick people off the stream anyway, but I don't think we're going to have that problem. But I think that would be fun, because I would also like to talk to people. So I've got to put the thumbnail together for that. But I'll be looking forward to that. I'm thinking about doing some painting, hanging out, and we can talk about whatever it is that people want to talk about for half an hour to an hour, something like that. And then we will get to sleep. And then that way we can do it all again tomorrow. So, all right. Let's go over here. Let me bring up the primer. And I think this is basically going to wrap us up here. I did go through. Thank you so much, whoever it was. It may have been Sable Phoenix, who recommended that index, or was it not index card, but business card size monster creation. And so that helped me. That really made things easy. Because I thought about, well, I'm going to have to go through all of the monster creation. He's saying it's not right anyway. And there's a lot of issue on monster creation, but the business card size monster creation really breaks it down pretty easy. And of course, it says there's variation anyway. So you just hit this and, well, now where am I on this? So that made it really easy. Monster manual on a business card. That's it. Monster manual on a business card. I highly recommend that for anybody who's doing 5e development, rather than having to go through the whole monster manual or the whole DMG section on monster creation or something like that. So that gives you your stats. So let's see. Where were we? So what I did, I decided to, yesterday we were thinking about the raccoons. We were just working with raccoons yesterday. I did go ahead and add wasp beer as a language. I think that's great. So I did that. So that was community recommendation, and I like that. So I thought that languages, so we could keep this common here, but I'm thinking that the common language is Lapine for the rabbits. So, but I don't know. And that seems to be the language they would all speak. So I was about to go back and make that change. I just gone ahead and decided to do that right before we came on stream and things like that. So is it Vasbeer? That makes sense. So yeah, that makes sense. So that would be Vasbeer because it's a Dutch word. So I like that. So I think that's pretty cool. So let's use that. And then I'm thinking about using Lapine here for the rabbit language. And that seems to be the common tongue because the rabbits in Rabivania, because it is the rabbit land. So I think instead of having just common, you would speak Lapine for the rabbit. So I got to go back through and fix that. In fact, let me just go ahead and fix that right now because we need to give the mice that too. So instead of language, let's fix that. And then we'll have these guys. They might as well speak both. This is just, each one of these is just one interpretation. Well, actually, the Berserker, let's just have the Berserker speak his own language. But Huskarl is a bit better educated, so we'll put both. I was just starting to work with that. And then it makes it easy if those are both as well. So we had just basically gotten through there. I thought yesterday that, hey, maybe I should reduce the challenge ratings of the raccoons. But actually, I don't think so, because I realized, okay, so yes, they are larger. They need to be a threat. Maybe they are the things you fight a little bit later on, because we also have rat down here. So a rat brigand. So that's your challenge rating, like 1/4. So maybe instead of reducing the raccoons, we have rats, and we got weasels as well that take the lower end levels over here. So the lower end challenge ratings. So let's just go with that. So you're fighting snakes. Snakes are actually at a high level thing. So I put them at CR5. But you're fighting weasels, rats, and then later you get up to raccoons. So the raccoons do hold the higher end kind of things. It is. That's. Hey, Steel Mongoose, welcome. Oh, we haven't breathed and sip yet. I've got to. Let me do that. Let's breathe and sip. So 2 inhales and then an exhale. Here we go. Deep inhale, complete exhale. Here we go. And sip. Well, when I said their own language, I was just talking about being raccoons. So maybe they don't speak the rabbit language. Berserkers, yeah, because mostly they speak incoherent Raven, right? Raving, right? Yes. Good morning, Andrew. So I think that fixes everything over here. So I think that got everything fixed up. I went through, I readjusted. There were things about, okay, do I need to readjust the hit points? So I went through and I readjusted hit points and also armor class based on the business card, monster manual on a business card. So I got all that done. That does mean that, see, the Berserker is challenge rating 4, but everything seems to square with challenge rating 4. I went ahead and made the Huskarl challenge rating 5 then, because he might be leading the place. We might still have the I don't think I have room for a raccoon chieftain or a raccoon jarl, but a raccoon Huskarl could be leading this. And then we didn't do the shaman. See, the shaman is different, and because it's got magic powers, but the magic powers, I'm still not a huge fan of the way that 5th edition magic goes into represents Rabivania. But like I said, there's no time to rewrite 5th edition magic, so I'm just putting 5th edition magic in. but trying to come up with some of the slots that some of the spells that seem like the best fit. But I went ahead and made him so he's challenge rating 1 because he's not very strong, but he can cast a fair number of spells, but they aren't very offensive spells. So he's got a quarterstaff that he holds. Let's also have him have some type of ritual dagger. Who else has I think the dagger down here. Let's say ritual dagger. So this is a weird one because he could be a high level caster, but I think those challenge ratings assume they're going to be rather offensive casters, and this one really isn't. So he's light on hit points. I mean, 30 hit points, challenge rating 1. That's kind of lines up, but he's going to be very light on physical damage. But he can cast a fair number of spells, but they aren't going to be very offensive. So I think that's reasonable. He can cast Hex. The shaman can cast the Hex spell once per long rest without needing to expend a spell slot or provide material components. His spell casting ability for this spell is Wisdom. Oh, Creatine this morning? Steel. Good morning, Vision. Good morning. Berserk or Berserker literally translates to bear shield. It's commonly believed that they wore bear skins into battle when they wore anything at all, which is where the word comes from. I did not know that. So are you envisioning players to encounter groups of raccoons or solo raccoons? Small groups, I suppose, at this level, because this was only going up to level 5 anyway. So if you're going to be encountering groups of things, it seems to make a lot of sense to encounter groups of low-level groups of things. It seems like you encounter low-level groups of weasels, low-level or mass groups of rats as well. So those would be mass combatants. So there would be large numbers of fairly large groups of raccoons as well. But that also gives a sense of progression. But later on, because I think that gives you a sense of progression that you end up with a big bad evil guy here with a Huskarl. So once you encounter him, if you're going up in levels, well, this kind of does give you an end with a big bad guy who might have some a berserker to go through as well, and then but there are a couple of warriors lower level, at higher levels. Was that a couple of different warriors that could have the challenge ratings? They're challenge level 1. Like I said, this one, I think should he put challenge level 1 here? Yeah, challenge level 1 for a raccoon shaman. He's probably a leadership role earlier on. Like I said, he's the one that doesn't quite fit into this. Okay, so that's where I ended up with raccoon. So let's go over here to rat. We're going to have rat brigand here. So I put them at challenge rating 1/4. So here's what I said about rats. So here's what we're trying to represent. Rats are a very numerous species in the realm. But whereas the mice have deeply integrated into Rabivania, the rats have their own societies. They live in habitations called nests, which can house a vast number of rats. Those are often outside of areas under Rabivanian political control. However, the rats have not been able to establish sufficient unity to exert significant political power outside of the immediate hinterlands of their nests. Many rats choose to leave their nests and try to make their way in Rabivania and the wider world. Though rats have a reputation for being involved in the seedier activities of the underbelly of the kingdom, such as smuggling and gambling, many try to find legitimate employment as laborers. Dock workers and mariners in some regions are heavily dominated by rats. Some rats have allied with weasels, become bandits, and established violent gangs which threaten travelers along some of the Rabivanian highways. Several of the most dangerous highway gangs are operated by rats who use weasels as a large portion of their cutthroats and foot soldiers. Sometimes these gangs coordinate with organized criminal elements in urban warrens, many of which are orchestrated by rats. Adult male rats are called bucks. Adult female rats without mates are called does. Once an adult female rat is married or becomes a mother, she is called a dam. Rat children are called pups. So I thought here, having a low-level rat brigand, we need a name for the rat language. I wonder what the rats speak. So we need to come up with a rat language. Rat brigand, so medium creature. So so the rats are medium. See, I see them as a bit larger than the mice. So probably medium. The mice are the small ones. So rats are a little bit larger. Steele says maybe some giant rat city would return to the country as a warlord. So maybe some giant city rat would return to the country as a warlord. Could be. Chitter or chitter speak? That's interesting. Ratatouille. I'm going to put chitter right here for the moment. So here we got so strength. This is rat brigand. Let's go down on strength. So with 15 hit points, armor class 13, which was just based on dex. Strength, let's drop them to +0. Constitution 14, intelligence 10, wisdom 12, charisma 7. But they get stealth, acrobatics, and sleight of paw. Dark vision, passive perception of 11. Lapine and chitter. Challenge rating 1/4, which means also 50 XP +2. Keen smell. The rat brigand has advantage on wisdom perception checks that rely on smell. Cunning action. The rat brigand can take a bonus action on each of his turns in combat to take the dash, disengage, or hide action. Sneak attack. The rat brigand deals an extra 7 points of damage when it hits a target with a weapon attack and has advantage on the attack roll, or when the target is within 5 feet of an ally and the rat brigand that is not incapacitated, and the rat brigand does not have disadvantage on the attack roll. So when an ally is within 5 feet of the rat brigand, when the target is within 5 feet of an ally of the rat brigand and is not incapacitated, that should be who. I think that's was not incapacitated, and the rat brigand does not have disadvantage on the attack roll. And give the rat brigand a short sword. So I think I need to reduce the damage here to D6 because I pulled the strength down by 1. So that would be hits of 3. Let me check our monster manual over here. Monster manual on a business card. So the damage is supposed to be about 5. So we got short sword and short bow, but we can also boost that up with sneak attack. So I guess that seems to fall within our range for a 1/4 creature. And also the equivalent kind of attack bonuses. Those are working. So I think that's low level rat brigand. Where did my window go? Here we go. See, I was wondering, use Marine for their language. So maybe, okay. So I was wondering also what the equivalent was. So Steel Mongoose says Marine refers to rats and mice like bovine refers to cows. That might do for a language. Okay, so that's kind of what I was looking for. Sable beat me to it. They are from the Murid genus. Murine is similar to what the word vulpine is for foxes. That sounds good. I think that chitter is going to needs to become like some kind of sub language. I need to put this as a note. Maybe chitter is like an urban sub language of the underbelly of the underbelly rats or something like that. So I think chitter. I think chitter needs to be in there someplace. But let's do. I knew somebody was going to know what the equivalent was, and there might be different dialects of that. Where should I make a note of that? I need to put someplace about our, let's see, language. Just put this up here. Other notes, because this can be developed in later books to a greater degree. Languages, so rabbits, raccoons, was, beer. Rats, so this is the common tongue. Rabivania. With different dialects. One of which is chitter. Do that. Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, to capture some of the seediest, somebody they need to be speaking chitter. Like, yeah, thieves can't, something like that. Yes, exactly. Yes, is where we're going. If birds get their own language, it should be gale. That's literally the word for bird speech in old language. Oh, I'm going to make note of that. I don't have bird speaking. If they do, they need to speak gale. Maybe the common language could be Rodra, which would be common to all rodents. Yeah, so what is the relationship between the mice and the rat language? So are mice of this, they should be, right? What is mouse genus? Oh, genus mus. So they're connected at a higher level than genus. So this is based on, so just as a note, this is based on rat genus. Brent says, so would any rat families be known as mischiefs? A mischief of rats. I didn't write that down, but I kind of think that that the word mischief for a group of rats needs to be used. Rotor is the Latin root for rodent. Could be common. Could be so the good language root between mice and rats. Okay, so I'll reverse those. So I think that's a pretty good brigand. That also fits in our challenge rating. And some of the bad guys have been a little bit light on damage. So if he's a little bit heavier because of the sneak attack, well, it would be much heavier. He'd be a little bit heavier on damage, but that's okay because it seems like on other places that I've been a little bit on the lower side. So there we go. Oh, well, that's a good point. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we need to make sure we're separating the separating the rabbits from the rats and the mice. But then again, having something something that overarches that all of them could understand. Rotor means something like gnawing one or to grow. Interesting. So, all right. So rat. So snake. This is short, and this is one that needs to be expanded on when there's more word count and more page count, because I want fighting a snake to be like fighting a dragon. So I went ahead and put the snake up at CR5. Snake. Snakes are among the rabbit's most dangerous natural predators and most perilous foes. A snake that suddenly appears in a warren can easily pick off unsuspecting victims, rabbits and mice alike. Thus, warren watch rabbits are often on careful lookout for snakes. Because of their deadly nature, slaying a snake is a favorite way for a young errant knight to prove their bravery. A knight engaged in deadly combat with snakes is iconic imagery in Rabivanian art and is a frequent subject of stories. Didn't we talk about beavers? Yeah, I think we did talk about beavers. Angry beavers. Somebody say something about angry beavers. If there were the way that I had thought about beavers, I was just had like a passing reference to beavers in some place that it's not in here yet. But beavers as the architects and also a professor of mathematics at the university. Angry beavers with Scottish accents. So Snake is rather simple, but he doesn't have multi-attack, but his attack. So this one is different because he doesn't have multi-attack, but man, the snake can dish out some damage, which does seem to be rather dragon-like. So, and like I think that we need multiple kinds of snakes eventually, but this one will work for, I believe it's a general snake for the purposes of the world primer. But it'd be neat to have a bunch of other snakes. But okay, poisonous snake, large beast, armor class 14, natural armor. I'm going to go over and make sure. So this is 5. So armor class 14. That hits our business card AC exactly. Hit points 86, speed 30 feet, and swim 30 feet. Strength. High in strength, high in dexterity. Oh, high, man. Why I got such high numbers here in all 3 of these? Why are we so high in con? That may have had something to do with having poison. Let's back Constitution down. Why would he have such this is kind of just generic poisonous snake. Let's see. Con, what do you think about that? Intelligence. So they don't speak. So there's no language here because they don't speak. That might change later because you could have like the talking dragon, but generally right now they don't speak. They're much more wild. Wisdom. So wisdom +2 and then charisma 10. Okay, we need to drop charisma here. Because like I said, we've had this discussion. We always had this about the relative nature of things. But it seems like, okay, why don't we drop that? Well, what about D&D 5e Red Dragon? An adult male dragon is challenge rating 17. So we need let's see. Is there a CR5 dragon? What size dragon is CR5? Monsters by CR. Earth elemental, giant crocodile, let's look at giant crocodile. Let's compare to how this does with giant crocodile at CR5. Crocodiles and alligators, those are also kind of animals we could put in here as our monsters. Let's see what people are saying. Hey, good morning Among the Damned. Thank you very much for the super chat. Good morning. So Among the Damned says, morning, should raffle naming rats in the world. Raffle off rat names? That could be fun. That could be fun. So if I need when I need rat names, that could be fun. I think that's a good idea. I love the community aspect of this. the languages have definitely gotten better as a result of this conversation. Andrew says, are they a particular type of snake, python, or whatever? I think that we should see. I think that eventually we should break those out because Python should be on there, constrictor should be on there, cobra we put on there because that way we get more variety here. Because Andrew says I think constrictors would be better over poison ones, bigger and can threaten to eat whole players whole. So I think we need them all. But the problem is we're running out of. That like the page count here is small. So this maybe this doesn't need to be a generic snake. It just needs to be. Well, this says poisonous snake is what I had up here. So I was trying to give an example of a poisonous snake. If they end up speaking, don't use parcel tongue. Now, hypnotic gaze. We could totally have that. Now, the witches tend to do that. We've got the hypnotic gaze. Let's see. Hypnotic gaze. D&D 5e hypnotic gaze. So, Wizard School of Enchantment. So, an example of this would be the Wizard School of Enchantment. Hypnotic gaze. Starting at second level when you choose this school, your soft words and enchanting gaze can magically enthrall another creature. As an action, choose one creature that you can see within 5 feet of you. If the target can see or hear you, it must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your wizard spell save DC or be charmed by you until the end of the next turn. The charmed creature's speed drops to 0 and the creature is incapacitated and visibly dazed. On subsequent turns, you can use your action to maintain this effect, extending its duration until the end of your next turn. However, the effect ends if you move more than 5 feet away from the creature. The creature can neither see nor hear you, or if the creature takes damage. Once the effect ends, or if the creature succeeds on its initial saving throw against the effect, you can't use this effect on a creature until you finish a long rest. I think at least some snakes having that sounds good. Pythons are a type of constrictor, James is reminding me. Kidney says, what's the logic between animals that are anthropomorphized and the ones that is not? There is no major there's no rule that I'm following. There's no rule that I'm following at the moment to anthropomorphize some creatures and some that are not. Like I don't want the snake wearing clothes. So the snakes aren't wearing clothes, doing that kind of thing. So they don't talk. Now I do have. So I don't like, for instance, I don't have fish anthropomorphized, except in Clovis. In Clovis, which is more like their legends anyway, they go and talk to a fish. A great salmon comes up and talks to Clovis at one point, but it's still very much a fish. But he does happen to come up in this legend and speak. So I don't have. I didn't want to throw all animals in, and I had been trying to kind of in this new version. That I've been working on ever since I started this document, to try to control the size ratio. So like having a lion be anthropomorphized doesn't exactly work, or because it's so much larger than a rabbit. And even the cats and dogs. Originally I had cats and dogs, but they were fully anthropomorphic. They wore armor and things like that. But that was in an earlier version of all of the story. But it's I don't think it's working. I'll have to come up with some other way to make that work. So a hybrid position would be some of them talk, but they don't wear armor and wear clothes. So if the snake was in that situation, right now I don't have the snake speaking, but it seems like in some cases they might, or in legends they might. So maybe like when Aiden is also a legendary tale within Rabivania, they might encounter snakes that talk. Ophidian. Brent is recommending Ophidian. Let me make note of that. But yeah, there isn't a hard and fast rule. I was trying not to multiply it just so that there are all kinds of animals that are here that are anthropomorphized. So I was trying to start relatively small. Snake. Maybe the witches learned how to do it by observing it or stealing it from the snakes. That's possible. Well, okay. I do have. How are we handling the weasel mystic? Oh, the weasel needs to have that. Ah, man, I forgot about that. Like, is this the stats here? Needs to have charm of some kind. So there are a lot of things in here that can charm you like that. But the snake. So right now, hypnotic gaze is the enchantment wizard's most clutch ability. Hey, Zero the Blade. Yes, Sir Hiss from Robin Hood. Yeah, so it seems like the larger animals are more beast-like than the smaller ones. Yeah, like especially if you're encountering like a boar or an elk or something like that, I don't see the players talking to it. It just is a boar or an elk and does its thing. So, okay, let's add something about hypnotic gaze in here, but the weasels are going to have something similar too. So, like I said, we're saying that my hit points, looking at my chart over here by challenge rating, armor class, hit points line up for a 5. Actions, okay. Bite, melee weapon attack, +8 to hit, reach 5 feet, 1 target, hit 11, 2d6 plus 4 piercing damage, plus 14, 46 poison damage. The target must take a DC 16 Constitution saving throw, taking the poison damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. Poison creatures receive the poison condition. But if we add in hypnotic gaze, let me make sure that I'm actually looking in the SRD. Let me pull that up. Okay, right here. Hypnotic gaze. Well, is it in here? Oh, that might not be in here. We'll have to write our own. That's a wizard ability. So that's what I was afraid of. So it probably doesn't give all the examples of the wizard abilities. Sorcerer, a warlock, wizard, spell casting, spell mastery, arcane tradition, school of evocation. Yeah, we just have school of evocation as an example here. Okay, that may require more thought then. So we want that gives the snake something else to do as well. So hypnotism. That could be like let's see check the witch ability from this. Because I did go through that because it was recommended that I take a look at the harpy ability. Are harpies over here? Harpy. not hypnotic harpy. So harpy has lurid song. The harpy sings a magical melody. Every humanoid and giant within 30 feet of the harpy who can hear the song must succeed on a DC 15 wisdom throw or be charmed until the song ends. The harpy must take a bonus action on subsequent turns to continue singing. It can stop singing any time. The song ends if the harpy is incapacitated. When charmed by the harpy, the target is incapacitated and ignores the song of other harpies. If charmed, the target is more than 5 feet away from the harpy. The target must move on his turn toward the harpy by the most direct route, trying to get within 5 feet. It doesn't avoid opportunity attacks, but before moving into damaging terrain such as lava or a pit, and whenever it takes damage from a source other than the harpy, it can repeat the saving throw. And it ends when the saving throw is there. So we could also check the witch ability for this, and also check harpy again, because we can use that. Where's my... What was it the School of Enchantment did? So this would make it different. The charmed creature's speed drops to 0. So in this, it doesn't move. So maybe the snake doesn't make you move. And the creature is incapacitated and visually dazed. I bet we can blend these two things together. Daniel says, I'd also look at the sea hag's horrific appearance. Okay, let's check that out too. So I'm going to copy this. Well, oh, here. So this is the harpy right there. Let's check out Sea Hag. Sea Hag, horrific appearance. Any humanoid that starts its turn within 30 feet of the hag and can see the hag's true form must take a DC 11 wisdom saving throw. On a failed saving throw, the target is frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, with disadvantage if the hag is within the line of sight, ending the effect on its full success, ending the effect on itself on a success. If the creature's saving throw is successful or the effect ends, the creature is immune to the hag's horrific appearance for the next 24 hours. Unless the target is surprised by the revelation of the hag's true form is sudden, the target can avert its eyes and avoid making the initial saving throw until the start of his next turn. A creature that averts its eyes has disadvantage on attack rolls against the hag. That one's interesting because it makes them frightened, which is different than what we have here. So I want to be sure that the snake is different. Hags are some of my favorite creatures. Daniel says, School of Enchantment forces the wizard and target to lose their actions and movement for as long as the wizard continues the gaze. Yeah, so it's not fire and forget, right? It says on subsequent effects, you can use your action to maintain this effect, extending its duration until the end of your next turn. Okay, so can we come up with a blend? We've also got to do something for the Weasel War Dance. Hypnotism. The snake entrances its victim with its eyes and dance-like movements, and swaying dance-like movements, and swaying, or talk about swaying movements. Dance-like may not, and swaying movements. I think it's too much to say every one of them. So one target, let's go back over here to more like the hypnotic gaze. One target as an action, choose one target the snake can see and who can see it. The snake entrances its victim with its eyes and swaying movements. The victim, or the target, must succeed on a DC 11 wisdom saving throw or be charmed. The harpy could do this as a bonus action. Let's see. So, or be charmed. The target's speed drops to 0. Is incapacitated, or the wisdom throw, or why are we saying charmed here? Let's just say the saving throw, pass the saving throw, or the target's speed drops to 0, is incapacitated, and is visually okay. So all of this we've used something similar to this anyway, but this just stops you on subsequent turns. Snake can use its action to extend the hypnotic effect. However, the effect ends when the snake can no longer see the target. No longer see one another, or the target takes damage. A target that is successfully saved is immune to the snake's hypnotic effect for the next 24 hours. What do we think about that? James says, I feel like it should be magical for the witches, but biological for the snakes. I feel the same way. Snakes should be able to perform other actions, making them incredibly threatening. So we think that's too. We think that once you're hypnotized by the snake should be able to continue to move. And that snake make them not be able to use this in combat a whole lot. That's the problem with that I was thinking about. But for a species that isn't natural they need to lock into a ritual spell without distractions. So you think it's why you recommend horrific experience? Okay, well, let's look at that again. Maybe we use something like this for the weasel. So maybe this write-up is going to go over the weasel. Let me finish this write-up, and then let's see how we'd write it up differently with the frightened. As an action, choose one target the snake can see and who can see it. The snake entrances its victim with its eyes and swaying movements. The target must succeed an 11 wisdom saving throw, or the target speed drops to 0, is invisualized and is visually stunned. I think I might like this for the weasels better. On subsequent turns. Okay, so let's go look at the hag and see how we would write that for the snakes. Because you're going to be probably encountering snakes one-off. So like the Sir Hiss charm thing makes sense if a snake gets you one-on-one. You might go with it. But on the other hand, if you've got a whole adventuring party hunting snakes, it makes more sense for the snake to be alone And so it probably wouldn't even use that ability. So let's see. It probably would use this. Okay, so let's just start with creature, because this generalizing here is not having any creature that starts its turn. Well, we can say any, we can even be more specific. Rabbit, mouse, rat, squirrel, or similar creature. Let's put that. That starts its turn within 30 feet of a snake and can see the snake's true form. Snake. It seems like this is something that it should do when it a snake starts its turn 30 feet. A snake that coils itself and a coiled and hissing snake. Have a coiled, and so it's not just you can't if you just see it slithering over there, not necessarily, but by the time it coiled a coiled and hissing snake. Must make a DC 11 Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is frightened for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of its turns with disadvantage if the snake is within line of sight, ending the effect on a success. If a creature's saving throw is successful or the effect ends it, the creature is immune to the snake's this is going to become something different than hypnotism. It is kind of like horrific appearance, terrifying appearance, or terrifying nature. Terrifying nature for the next 24 hours. Unless the target is surprised or the revelation of the hag's true form is sudden, the target can avert its eyes and making the initial saving throw. Until the start of the next turn, a creature that averts its eyes has disadvantage on attacks against the hag. So that would be against the snake. Is averting your gaze good? I think so. Unless the target is surprised by the coiled and hissing snake. Or if its appearance is sudden, the target can avert its gaze to avoid making the initial saving throw. Until the start of its next turn, a creature that averts its eyes has disadvantage on attack rolls against the snake. I also like this because it's more thematic. Because rabbits have got to be brave. So this is their one of their big enemies, which is like a beast-like enemy. And so what have you got to overcome? You've got to overcome fear. I like that thematically. I like that thematically a lot. So this is terrifying nature. Maybe if I can. I like that a lot. Tomocrat says, I'm thinking the snake charm like that scene in Jurassic Park where the hunter was focused on one raptor and the raptor's party gets him. Clever girl. Just say intelligent creature or any creature, or rather any creature that can speak. This. Because I need a better word for that. Any of them that can speak. It could potentially do it to something that even if they're not speaking. Yeah, right. So that's a lack in the vocabulary that we've got. Also, mechanically speaking, the frightened condition means you can't actually move towards the source of your condition. Yes. It doesn't do anything to prevent you from running away. This is interesting. There's essentially a drawback for detecting hidden on a snake. Okay, so creature who can speak. Yeah, what was wrong, though, in this particular case was just saying rabbit, mouse, rat, squirrel, or similar creature. So you don't want them to be able to run away? To make it more hypnotized-like? We don't want them to run away? Let's look up frightened. Yeah, frightened does make you, or it doesn't stop you from moving away. Where is our table of conditions? This would make it that would make it more hypnotism like. Probably easier to look it up in a book. Oh, frightened. I believe that was it. So frightened. A frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while the source of its fear is within line of sight. The creature can't willingly move closer to the source of its fear, but it can move away. Yeah, see, it should. But birds may not be able to speak. James says, if a snake is coiled and hidden, detecting it will cause the fear effect. I was too brief in my last comment. Didn't accurately communicate my thoughts. Yeah, birds aren't falling from the sky because they see a snake. But if they all of a sudden came across one. Sable says, maybe make it any warm-blooded creature. Like any warm-blooded creature? Okay, yeah, creature who can, yeah, any, okay, that's warm-blooded creature. Well, what we could do if we want the runaway, if we want the more paralysis type nature of this. Well, so frightened allows them to continue to fight at disadvantage. You're frightened for 1 minute. You can't get closer. So it would be, you could say on a failed save, the creature is frightened for 1 minute and its speed drops to 0. I mean, that's pretty horrifying. Because if that happens, that keeps them from running away. And that's any warm-blooded creature. I mean, that sounds a bit rough. So this is not just one. If it were one creature, that would be one thing. But this is all of the creatures within 30 feet of a coiled and hissing snake. All of a sudden, your entire party could become frightened and be unable to move. Any warm-blooded creature of medium size or less? I don't know. That sounds too rough to me, especially because it's on everybody. Now, Knights, this also seems to go well with the Knight because the Knights, let's see. once they hit level 3, whenever they make a saving throw against being charmed, frightened, or paralyzed, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. In fact, that actually makes me think the knight should get advantage on that roll. So a level 3. I like that the knights have something that resists what the snake has got. I do like that. Sable Phoenix. I wasn't thinking of it as an area in effect, but it would match the description of Kura luring the monkeys in the Jungle Book. It affected Bahira and Baloo at the same time. In the book, not the movie. I've never read the book. Okay, yeah, I think if everybody drops to 0, that's going to be too powerful. I do like that. I think it's very thematic. So this right here, this needs to go down to Weasel. Specifically, Weasel Mystic. We'll look at that here in just a moment. Speed cut in half. Now, that could be the case. Now, that might not be bad. So make the DC 11 Wisdom saving throw. Frightened for 1 minute, and their speed is cut in half. And their speed is reduced by half. So pardon me for repeating, but some weasels eat snakes, and they are warm-blooded. Well, okay, so we're going to give knowing the way 5e is, the knight needs to be able to resist that a lot better. So I'm going to go over here to why don't we just, when you make a saving throw against being charmed or paralyzed, the knight receives advantage on any saving throw against being frightened. All right, that's it. When you, because this one's written in the second person, you receive advantage on any saving throw against being frightened. When making a saving throw against being charmed or paralyzed, you can add your proficiency bonus. So the snakes should fear the weasels, though. Weasels should suffer no drawbacks. James says you can specifically say, well, we could say that. We could specifically say that weasels are immune to X ability when cast by a snake. Well, yeah, I guess that would handle it. We could go down here to weasel and make that a weasel racial ability. Like immunity to snake charm. Or fear. Charm and fear. The weasel is immune to any fear. Immunity to snakes, charm, paralysis. Well, and it's not being, well, it's poison. It's being poisoned. It's poisoned. There's not different kinds of poisons in 5e. Paralysis, fear, charm, or paralysis caused by a snake. That's also interesting. You might want to go get a weasel on your side. Remove the comma after charmed and put it back after paralyzed in the night ability. Remove the comma after charmed. Oh. Yep, after being charmed or paralyzed, comma. So you receive advantage on a saving throw against being frightened. When you make a saving throw against being charmed or paralyzed, you can add your proficiency bonus to the roll. Thank you. I'd already been through editing all of that, so that was a good catch. The night stuff. All right. Well, mostly a snake-eating weasel is also immune to snake venom. Oh, that's interesting. So the poison thing may still apply if you want to take it in that direction. Well, that does make weasels the ultimate snake killers. As immune to any fear, charm, paralysis, or poison effect caused by a snake. That makes them the snake killers. Although that could be cool. Maybe that's why weasels. Oh, and that could be cool. I can see like dead snakes in weasel ceremonies. Oh, so if you inject one with the poison, oh yeah, there definitely would be. If you can eat it, mostly a snake-eating weasel is usually immune to snake venom. So we need to clarify that. So clarify does this count for injection? Because I would think so. Because you might be able to eat the snake and eat its poison. That's one thing. But injection, can you be injected by it? Okay, let's go to squirrel. Let's see. So here's what I've got for squirrel. Squirrels have a reputation among the rabbits for being flighty, nervous, and hyperactive. The squirrels operate a parallel society to that of Rabivania, as they are more arboreal than the terrestrial Rabivanian kingdom. Squirrels are not by nature warriors and often choose to flee from danger. But when defending their trees from interlopers on the ground, squirrels employ throwing spears, javelins, and arrows. Traditionally, squirrels do not practice agriculture. Instead, they gather nuts, fruits, and berries. They build their homes high up in branches of great trees and, on the whole, have not embraced metallurgy in the same way as the rabbits. Instead, they trade for the metal goods they need. However, it is not uncommon for squirrels to come down from the trees to live and work among the rabbits and mice of Rabivania. Squirrels can be found working as artisans, blacksmiths, merchants, scribes, and specialist nutcrackers. Other squirrels travel through Rabivania as vagabond fortune tellers or as part of bardic troops. Some even have become devoted to the locked and joined orders of itinerant mendicants. A group of squirrels is called a dray. Male squirrels are called boars. Female squirrels are called sows. So, yeah. So you're correct. That's why I specifically said venom. Venom is injected. But for the purposes of a game, I can see not wanting to completely threat-ruining weasel joining the party to take into a snake pit. Yeah, I think it's great for the weasels to be the snake fighters. Yeah, because it's got the snake from the game perspective has two special abilities. It's got that it's frightening gaze, but then as a separate thing, it's got its attack that it can inject poison. This is the poison snake or inject venom. So it can inject I should actually change that to be venomous snake, shouldn't I? I suppose it uses the word poisonous here because it's poison, the poisoned condition. because this says take poison damage on a failed save. So that's actually a game term right there. Poisoned creatures. Venomous snake. Threat weasel. Threat ruining weasel, or a threat weasel. Yeah, so giving the weasels advantage over here. Why do that twice and also take out this side of things? Because that would be pretty rough. We'll look up. Or even if it's not, see, immunity might be one thing, but we could also just give them like advantage. Well, I'm trying to not, at least in this right here, I'm trying in this one to not try to rewrite 5th edition. Leave 5th edition as it is. Because I just don't have the space. I think my jaw is going to hit the floor when I try to put this in 48 pages. One layout. I think my jaw is going to hit the floor on that because I think I'm already over the top. Sable Phoenix says, I'm not aware that weasels are immune to snake venom. I know mongooses are, but they're not related to weasels. Honey badgers are, and they are related to weasels. Okay, so we just need to look up, or I need to clarify weasel immunity to snake venom. Right now, let me put this over here. Clarify weasel immunity to snake venom. I mean, we could, if the weasel is immune, we could say they are immune, but also because this is good enough if it gives advantage. That way you don't have to worry about the weasel. That gives the weasel a huge advantage over snakes. But it doesn't completely negate it. Actually, that also makes me, what kind of spells? Because you could also have the weasel mystic know some additional spells. That would help them go fight snakes. So they gotta prep themselves before they go fight snakes. That would be another way to do it. Okay, so we just need more clarification on this. Maybe the weasels aren't immune. Honey badgers are African. Okay. Subject for research. I went with trying to make an itinerant mendicant squirrel here. And again, this is one of those things that doesn't seem to quite fit because he's got some spell casting, but he's not powerful. As far as, dealing damage, which is what 5e cares about a lot. So Squirrel, Mendicant Friar, medium creature, armor class 12 plus 2 dex, hit points 24, speed 30 feet, climb speed 30 feet. So I said strength 6. That is a very weak squirrel. That's like weaker than some of the mice we've had. X14, Con 9. I wonder why I had Con 9. Intelligence 10, Wisdom 16, Charisma 12 plus 1. Acrobatics, Insight, Medicine, Religion, and Perception. Oh, okay, so this squirrel, we need a squirrel language. What is squirrel language? Proficiency bonus plus 2. Dexterous squirrel. The Squirrel Friar has advantage on all dexterity saving throws. Are there squirrel abilities that we are missing here? I give him spell casting. Give him guidance, spare the dying, bless, cure wounds, sanctuary, aid, and lesser restoration. So you can find a squirrel friar that might be able to help you out. But he's not a combatant. Unarmed strike. Is he not carrying something? He needs to be carrying like a staff or something. Where is... quarterstaff makes sense. Healer's kit. The squirrel mendicant friar carries a healer's kit and can stabilize a dying creature as an action. So I'll think about. I need to come up with the language here, and if there's something else missing for squires, we've got just a little bit more missing for squirrels as far as their advantages go. They already have climb. See, climb is taken care of by climb speed, so they can climb pretty fast. Which does lead us to weasels. Let's take a look at weasel. So we're getting towards the end. This would be the last one. So weasel. Although some weasels have had moderate success in forming their own power centers, most weasels in Rabivania are found scattered in rural and remote areas of the realm. Generally speaking, weasels are chaotic in mindset, superstitious, and believers in magic. Thus, mystics hold an important position in their society. Weasels are particularly known for their ritual dances, especially war dances. So here I had this. So weasels are particularly known for their ritual dances, especially war dances. A common tale among rabbit kind is how some weasels can hypnotize victims through mesmerizing movements, causing them to drop their guard and be at the weasel's mercy. So I like having the snake be frightened, have the fear aspect to it. That lets us have at least certain weasels, not necessarily all weasels. I don't think it's necessarily something that all weasels do, but some weasels can use their war dance to hypnotize and mesmerize their foes. A group of weasels is called a gang or a pack. These form a core of their social organization. Some of these gangs function as independent war bands. They sometimes work as mercenary companies, but more often operate as roving packs of bandits or as highway robbers, a few of which have developed a reputation for masochistic tendencies. Weasels found in more urban areas are more cut purses or cutthroats, but in both cases frequently work in conjunction with rats. The weasel mystics and their strange religion often draws the ire of Mirite clerics, who see the weasel's mysticism as demonic. This has led to a number of crusades against the weasels. One of the greatest of these religious wars was launched following a particularly large religious festival where weasel mystics led ritual dances around a bizarre statue of a deity that one of the chief mystics claimed to channel. This festival was fueled by inhalation of hallucinogenic incense and culminated with the burning of what looked suspiciously like a rabbit in effigy. Some of these effigies were purported to be wearing a mockery of the Mirite religious garb, and one of the effigies, most egregiously, was styled as the Magus of the Mist. Baron Osbert of Harwood was one of the most prominent rabbits to heed the call to war. He slew so many weasels during the conflict that he received the epithet the Weasel Slayer. He is known for his brutal tactics, including skinning weasels and even covering his shield in weasel furs to intimidate his foes as he rode into battle. This resulted in the Rabivanian heralds incorporating weasel or ermine fur into Rabivanian heraldry. Male weasels are called jacks, female weasels are called jills, weasel children are called kits. Oh, their tail does need to do something. That's a good idea, Andrew. So, like, what else does the squirrel get? The squirrel needs some type of ability like a tail attack. Or something to do with their tail. Let me make note of that. Tails? Sable Phoenix says, poison in 5e is something you can usually safely ignore. I vastly prefer how 3rd edition did poisons and diseases. They were actually dangerous. Squirrel tails maybe for misdirection. I believe that's what they evolved for. That and communication among other squirrels. Misdirection, communication. Enter says, need to work on some sort of reference to weasels ripped my flesh. I don't know that, but let me make a note of that. I'll look that up. Squirrel tails are all fur, though. They could use as a distraction, perhaps, but if I recall, the tails are purely for balance and maneuverability. Well, in that case, it would be that would be one of the reasons why they have dexterous. The rabbit fryer has advantages on all dexterity saving throws. Now, see, that could be, it's like that would be like because of their large tail. What about gliding squirrels? I think there needs to be, I think that would be fun. I think we talked about that on a different episode. Because I can see gliding squirrels being used as like airborne infantry. Like they're up above a battle on a cliff or something like that. And they all go leaping off like they're airborne infantry out of a plane and then gliding themselves down to the battle. I'm kind of liking the misdirection idea. The misdirection and communication. So that might be a good one. Maybe the squirrels can, if they could communicate with their tails to other squirrels, that would be fun. Okay, so there's more to think about squirrels and then also weasels. So I thought I was going to wrap up this. Let's go wrap this up. So I've got some more work to do here, but I'm getting so close. I am getting so close. I really appreciate your help. So we're going to, I'm going to get some work done here, but then also for several hours. But then let's try. What do we say? 7:30. So I'll also put it out. I'll put it out on Discord and also on the YouTube community page that we will do a members only stream tonight. Members only hangout stream. We can talk, discuss whatever. And we can have discussion. Members can come on the stream and we can have a discussion too. I think that would be great if you want to. Andrew says maybe squirrels get a special sneak attack from above. Part of the protection piece is confusing predators. That would be misdirection. Misdirection and confusing predator and confusing predators. Also make attack from above. Or give them something special when they leap out of a tree at you. Squirrel tails do act as parachutes if they jump or fall. Oh, yeah, squirrel. So they, even though they're not gliding, squirrel tail parachutes. So maybe they take reduced damage. That's a good one. Sneak attack from above might work. And also perhaps reduced damage from falls. All right, I'm going to look those up. All right, thank you so much, everybody. This has been great. This has been wonderful. I have enjoyed it so much. Getting so close. Getting so close. Still feels far away, but getting so close. All right, everybody. I will see you tonight for the members only hangout stream. See you tonight, 7:30 p.m. I'll put it out on YouTube. Later, everybody.